Well, hopefully everybody here tonight has had the opportunity to answer the question that we all saw on the screens before Mass. It was a simple question with an image. The question was, how big is your barn? Did you answer the question for yourself? Did you take out a tape measure? Did you figure out the square footage? How large is your barn? It's a good question. A question that is at the heart of today's gospel, but actually at the very heart of today's gospel, we have another question. Actually, it's a statement at the very end of the Luke's gospel, and the statement is, it's about what matters to God. That's at the heart of today's gospel. But in order to figure out what matters to God, we have to first ask ourselves, well, what really matters to you and I? What is it that is truly important? And we just need reality television shows like American Pickers and Hoarding and Storage Wars to remind you and I that today's gospel still has a place in our society and culture today. Because you and I, as people in this society, we love to collect. We love to gather. We love to store. We love to stockpile. We just simply like to keep stuff. It's true, isn't it? We only need to look at this desire of ours to build a bigger garage, to get another shed, to rent out another storage unit. Why people like you and I do this, not because we have this intent to be greedy. It's not what drives us, although for some people it's a sickness. As we can watch on television, it's an addiction, it's an obsession as people begin to hoard stuff. But for most people like you and I, why this need to continually gather and to continually to get more stuff and to have to get more sheds and more storage to hold it all in, it simply happens because you and I are busy living. And in the course of living, why we buy stuff, and then we buy more stuff, and then of course there's the stuff that we bought years ago that we haven't used for years, but we forget we got the stuff because it's sitting in a storage shed somewhere. It's the madness, it's the craziness that is our lives. It just is who we are. So we don't need to beat ourselves up today. We don't need to leave with even more Catholic guilt than what we came into church with. I don't recommend any of that at all. It's never served us very well up to this point. It probably won't help us anymore. But we have to be mindful that that is oftentimes what it seems to the outsider looking in at our lives, that seems to be what really matters. What really matters is that we try to get all this stuff, and of course we do it because, of course, we're convinced that someday we're going to need it. And if we don't need it, well, then our kids will. We've convinced ourselves of that. That's why we keep storing up things. That's why we build bigger barns, more sheds, larger garages. Because we're convinced it's insurance. It's another form of life insurance. Because after all, life insurance is important. You and I, why we've taken the opportunity to invest in it. There are many different types of life insurance. There's the policies that you and I take out that guarantees that upon our death, why it will pay a certain amount of money to those who we've left behind to make sure that they are cared for, and life insurance is incredibly important. But there are other forms of life insurance besides those policies we sign that generate money once we die. Why, again, there's that life insurance of those things that we keep stockpiling and gathering together. But an elderly man once told me this wisdom. Self-giving. Self-giving is the best form of life insurance. Self-giving is the best form of life insurance. Because you see, the danger with understanding life insurance like you and I understand it is we're trying to understand life insurance as that which is left to our heirs. But Jesus wants you and I to have life insurance now. He wants you and I to have life and to have it to the full. And it doesn't happen by having more stuff, by collecting more things, by growing rich in the material things of this world, as important and as valuable as they are. Because getting back to the heart of today's gospel, what matters to God is you and I. What matters to God are relationships. What matters to God is the fact that you and I might continually, each and every day, grow in love for Him and for one another. So we have to figure out how to do that, because that's what matters. So it's going to mean that we have to have room in our barns, in our houses, in our vessels. We got to stop stockpiling resentments, and we have to stop collecting those things that get in the way of relationships experiencing forgiveness and life and love and growth. Because we can stockpile more than just things, my friends. It's those resentments, it's those bitterness that we have maybe towards one another. We can busy collect those as well, and we need to get bigger barns, i.e. in our minds, to house all of that. But Jesus invites you and I to take care to guard against greed in all its forms. And the only way we do that is to keep our eyes focused on what matters to God. Because that, my friends, is what should matter to you and I. It's relationships, it's people, it's family, it's friends, it's the stranger, it's the one who is suffering, it's those who are going without because they don't have the means to make ends meet. It's the people around us and among us and with us. Those are the relationships that need our attention, that need our life. And when we give ourselves to one another, why then, you and I, we have the best life insurance ever.